Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is my review for Cobra Kai Season 1, 2, 3. Now guys, look, I heard the buzz online. I really did about this show. I heard it was a great show. Definitely check it out. It's a great sequel to the Karate Kid Trilogy or the movies. And I don't know why I didn't get into it at first. It's been on Netflix for a while, but I just didn't bother sitting down to watch it. 32 episodes altogether. They're actually short enough episodes, 30 minutes, so you can fly through this pretty quick. I think I watched the 3 seasons in like 3 or 4 days. We're on lockdown here, so I didn't really have to complain about having no time to do anything. So I sat down and I watched the show, guys, and I really loved it. I really did. And I'll get into why in a second, but the show, of course, was a YouTube show. Then Netflix bought it, and this is the first season under Netflix. And you can see that the budget has already gone up a little bit because of Netflix power and the money that they have. But a season 4 has been greenlit. A season 5, I think, is probably on the way as well. And I think the writers were saying that they have till season 6 planned. So this is a great show, guys. It's well written. It brings back characters from the original movies, and it does it in a very beautiful way. It's not only a homage to the original movies, but it also expands the characters and the stories that we've seen in the last 4 or 5 Karate Kid movies, which is pretty hard to do, Star Wars, but it does a pretty good job. So this is the plot, the overall plot for the show. Decades after the 1984 All-Valley Karate Tournament bout, a middle-aged Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence find themselves martial arts rivals again. Now guys, if you don't remember the original Karate Kid movie, go and watch it. It's a great movie and it's a great time. So it followed Daniel LaRusso. He was a kid in high school, moved to a new town, was getting picked on, then met this old Korean guy who decided to do and teach him how to do karate to protect himself. And that, of course, was played by Pat Morita, who sadly passed away a few years ago. But his presence can be felt in every single episode. And this is one of the beautiful things that the show does. It takes what Mr. Miyagi showed Ralph Macchino's Daniel LaRusso's character in the original trilogy and brings it into this show as an overall arc that hits every single character and every single episode, which again I love. But also William Zabka is back as Johnny Lawrence. He was kind of the bully in the first movie, the guy who was created as the villain to kind of tease Daniel LaRusso, bully Daniel LaRusso, and then the two of them fought in the karate tournament. But his life is kind of upside down since that. It's kind of, there's great parallels here because Daniel LaRusso, since the 1984 karate tournament, his life's been great. He has his own business, he has a family, he's well off. Then you go to Johnny Lawrence, and his life has kind of been shitty. He works job to job, he's divorced, he has a kid, but he doesn't have a really good relationship with him. And it shows you how these characters have been, how different they've been since 1984, which I thought was pretty cool. Season 1 definitely hits on the relationship that Johnny Lawrence has with a kid next door. There's a kid that lives in this building, the two of them gain a relationship. Then Johnny Lawrence finds this new kind of lease of life where he trains the young kid in karate, and then Daniel LaRusso, his rival, finds out about this and kind of is taken aback, so he creates his own karate club, Miyagi-Do, of course, in remembrance for Mr. Miyagi. Now, season 1 kind of goes into that very much in an interesting way. And you have Daniel LaRusso, who ends up training Johnny Lawrence's son, which leaves a lot of tension between those two. And Johnny Lawrence, the kid that he's teaching, in the form of Cobra Kai, is pretty interesting because Cobra Kai was the big bad villains in the first movie, and now they're brought back to be kind of an anti-hero, which is Cobra Kai Never Dies. He brings back Cobra Kai and he trains the next generation of kids who are actually not bullies, but they're misfits. They're kids who have been bullied themselves. They're nerds per se. And William Zabka as Johnny Lawrence does a great job. He was kind of the popular kid in school, and now he has to train these kids who aren't so popular and show them the way of life. And he's pretty harsh with them, he's pretty honest, and he still kind of has that bully in him where he teases them and he makes fun of how they look, but it's all to make them stronger people. And then you have the opposite of Daniel LaRusso, who is trying to create his own karate studio as well, but he only has one student. Nobody wants to join because it's not as cool as Cobra Kai. In Cobra Kai you learn how to fight people, beat people's asses, but Miyagi-Do is kind of a more of a slow, different outlook on karate. It's more of this peaceful way of fighting, more of a defense instead of an attack, and that's why Cobra Kai gets more kids than Miyagi-Do does at the start. But Look, as I said, this show, it really is a tribute to the old movies. It brings back certain characters, it brings back certain teams. There's even flashbacks to a lot of scenes that happened in the original trilogy and make sense. So if you haven't seen the three movies, which you should, the show actually does a pretty good job of filling in the gaps and shows you exactly what this thing means, or why this character's doing it, or why this character feels it. Now, it also brings back one of the original villains from the trilogy, and that is Martin Grove, John Kreese to be exact, the guy who ran Cobra Kai in the original movies and was the villain that was teaching all these kids how to be bullies and telling them to be bullies, and really were the antagonist for Daniel LaRusso's and Miyagi's characters in the original movies. So this time around, Martin Grove comes back. He's playing the same character. Remember, you see him first, you think that he's changed. He's a little bit better. You know, Johnny Lawrence feels bad. He brings him into his dojo. He lets them teach the kids karates, but he slowly but surely gets his influence into the show. And you know, these guys, Cobra Kai never dies, and Martin Grove, his character John Kreese, takes that literally and shows the kids that Cobra Kai is supposed to be this kind of hurting machine, you know. So I found that interesting as well. And also you have Ralph Macchio, you know, the kid from the original trilogy. He did Cousin Vinny as well. He does a pretty good job as Daniel LaRusso again. You know, it's interesting because a lot of these actors from the original movies, they've acted since then, since 1984, of course, but nothing really high profile or big. It's not like they've had continuous amount of work in big profile pictures or shows. So it's interesting to see that they really are brilliant in these characters. The chemistry is no different than it was in 1984. It carries over very well. And I think the main guy, William Zabka, who plays Johnny Lawrence, his performances are absolutely brilliant. And this show, I thought it was going to be always from his point of view, but slowly but surely you see Daniel LaRusso's point of view, you see John Kreese's point of view, you see the point of view of the kids as well. And that's interesting. But Johnny Lawrence, his character is brilliant. There's so much depth, there's so much likeness to him. And I think a lot of people can relate to William Zabka's performance of Johnny Lawrence. I think it's great. I loved it so much. But as I said, you see the point of views from the children as well. You know, Daniel LaRusso has two kids. His daughter is kind of in a love triangle with Johnny Lawrence's kid, and then the kid that Johnny Lawrence is also teaching karate, Miguel. So there's a love triangle going on there. You got Robbie Keane, who was Johnny Lawrence's son in the show. He's getting trained by Daniel LaRusso. So you have all these kind of cross platforms of characters interacting, and it's pretty interesting. And look, there is some cheesy dialogue, there is some cheesy moments where it's kind of like high school drama, but that time when the writers are pushing it to be very cheesy, they pull it back in at the last second to make it not cheesy. And look, if you're an 80s guy, if you love 80s music, stuff like that, if you grew up in the 80s, there's so many choices of music from the 80s that works so well. You know, there's some music there I knew already, some music that I didn't know that I went back to YouTube or wherever and looked it up. Some great music, so there's some good stuff like that. And the flashbacks to the original movies are also brilliant. You also get some flashbacks for John Kreese's character and make you understand why he is the way he is, why he is a villain, which I pretty much loved as well. And as I said, Mr. Miyagi, Pat Morita, who sadly passed away, his presence is throughout this show. You remember the little small trees in the first movies? Yeah, they're kind of implemented back into this one. His sayings, his teachings and stuff like that. And there is so many emotional moments in this show. There's kind of that underdog mentality where people are telling a certain kind of character, you're not good enough, you can't do that. I think many people can relate to that. A certain character goes through struggles. There's some emotional essences in this show which I absolutely loved, and it had me to tears in many occasions, and I'll admit that it really did. But Mr. Miyagi's character very much has an influence on all these characters, and especially Daniel LaRusso, who's trying to show that character to the kids that he's training. So overall, guys, Cobra Kai season 1 to 3 are absolutely brilliantly written. Some interesting characters, some characters from the 1984 and the trilogy movies that have been brought back into the story are doing fantastic. There's the young kids of Hawk or Miguel or Robbie Keane or Samantha that are brought, the next generation of these kind of karate kids. They do an amazing job as well. I can't wait for season 4. Many hints that some characters from the Karate Kid 3 could pop up, which will be very interesting. Could Jaden Smith return as well? Of course, he was Karate Kid with Jackie Chan a few years ago in that kind of reboot. But also Hilary Swank, who played the Karate Kid in number 4. Could she pop up as well? I think that's a big possibility because the stardom of this show is only rising. It's been trending ever since it hit Netflix. It is a huge hit, and you know why. Definitely check out this show, guys. I absolutely love it. I think you'll love it as well. It's a good one to watch with family or friends. Short episodes, 30 minutes. There's not much to digest, but it's a very emotional show with some great characters. And the interaction and the patterns of storytelling where each character comes across another. The underdog characters, some characters that are bullied, go through this progression where they become the bully, which is also interesting as well. But guys, Cobra Kai. Love the music, love the writing, love the characters. I couldn't believe how much I loved these first 3 seasons. I binge watched them in a few days and then I was left with this nothingness. I was there, what am I going to do with my life now? I think I'll go back and watch the original Karate Kid movies because I need that kind of gap filled with my life until season 4 comes, which will probably be a year from now. Oh, why do I do this to myself? But guys, definitely check out this show. If you have, let me know in the comments, what do you think of Cobra Kai? Never dies, huh? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'm interested to hear everyone's point of views. I love this show. If not, guys, are you going to check out this show? Were you a fan of the Karate Kid movies and maybe you've been hesitant to check out this show, or will you check out the movies first, then check out this show? Guys, I think you'll love it. I really do. If I was to nitpick things I hate, this is some of the cheesy stuff, the high school drama, but it's reeled in pretty well. And I can't really fault this show. Guys, let me know. I'm interested. Come follow me on all the social medias. That stuff is in the description. And have a good day, guys. And watch something and do something that makes you happy. God damn it. But never forget, Cobra Kai never dies.